Kinji Hakari, second best gambler in the series behind the DraftKings warrior Toji Fushiguro, and femboy connoisseur.
Actually, I'm a boy.
Like I care.
Hakari is rightfully a fan favorite among JJK fans, and yet no one seems to know how his fucking technique works. Gege, oh my fuck! Gege, you gotta do better, man. We don't need to know if Momo's dad is from America. Explain this, please. Because, you know us JJK fans, we can't read. So I'm gonna do my best to explain it so you don't have to. Also, heads up, take what I say here with a heavy grain of salt because I tried my best to understand it, but there might be some things that I got wrong, and you know what? Who fucking cares? Just watch the video. Hakari's curse technique, known as Private Pure Love Train, is based on the Japanese gambling game known as pachinko, which is pretty much like a pinball slot machine hybrid. The game in question is basically a romantic comedy shoujo, and that's the theme that we see in Hakari's domain, exemplified by the cutscenes that play in it and the symbols Hakari uses to hit his jackpot like a slot machine. Think of like those gambling machines with the buffalo on them. You know, you see it like hit the jackpot and then all like the buffalo come running on the screen, like
Elephant green screen effect.
And there's like a voice that goes like, Buffalo! You know, and like coins rain everywhere. It's like that. The curse technique is pretty centered around Hakari's domain, but it's not the only thing he has going for him. Hakari is explicitly stated as having a curse technique that is sharp, rigid, and far too rough. Indeed, it was like a heap of raw iron. Sorry. 5 months without a new Berserk chapter. It does something to a man. Anyway, Hakari has a property to his cursed energy that makes it so whenever he hits something, it's like sandpaper. It's rough. It's like a barbed wire baseball bat. When it hits someone, it's a lot more painful and harder to recover from because of this quirk. He also is able to summon steel pachinko balls and subway doors at will, using them from a range the same way Sukuna uses Dismantle as a long-range weapon, though Hakari's balls and doors aren't really all that damaging and are more used to overwhelm his opponent with a flurry of both physical and cursed energy imbued attacks. Hakari is also clearly gifted in martial arts and is shown to have some pretty high-tier battle IQ and strategy, as shown in his fight with Kashimo, where the latter was in possession of a cursed technique involving lightning, and Hakari used his domain to essentially carry Kashimo over a body of water, which forced him to expend all of his cursed energy at once, as he couldn't shut off his electricity once submerged in water. Pretty smart play that resulted in a win for Hakari and Kashimo getting fraud allegations for the rest of the series. And that's not even counting... Yeesh. Speaking of Hakari's domain, let's talk about his main ability and what actually puts him in the conversation of being a potential special grade. Domain expansions are the pinnacle of Jujutsu sorcery, and Hakari's is no exception. There's actually a few sorcerers that have techniques that are almost entirely reliant on the user's domain, and Hakari is one of these select few. Hakari's domain, Idle Death Gamble, activates the sure hit effect of all of his attacks just like any other domain, but other than that, it has some pretty broken abilities. Its main principle being that of its namesake, gambling. Hakari, in his own words, uses skill to grab hold of luck, which results in the potential payout of him receiving infinite cursed energy while a song plays for 4 minutes and 11 seconds. The song in question is not Tukadonka. The actual song is called Admiring You, and I actually used it as a backing track in this video I made recently doing an Elden Ring build with Hakari in it, so after you watch this, if you want to go ahead and give that a watch, be my guest. Or don't. I don't really care. But just know that if you don't watch it, your head will explode and all of your insides will rupture. So, sorry, I don't make the rules. Now let's talk about the rules of Hakari's domain. First, let's talk about preview performances. Hakari is given 3 types of preview performances: metal pachinko balls, subway doors, and pseudo spins. Right now, let's just cover the pachinko balls and the doors, and then we'll come back to pseudo spins. For the balls and doors, he's given 3 types of visual indicators which are color-coded: green, red, and gold. Green being the worst, red being the middle, and gold being, well, the gold standard. Hakari uses these colors as one of 2 visual indicators that are also used by him as attacks in his domain. Whether they're used as both an attack and a spin, or just a spin, is up to Hakari, but it's usually both. He can also use these outside of his domain by manifesting them as attacks like I mentioned earlier, but they don't really have any effect towards him hitting a jackpot outside of Hakari's domain. They're just basic attacks imbued with cursed energy. Inside of his domain, however, they aren't exactly indicators of his chances to win a jackpot, but they indicate his chances of getting a certain cutscene to play for the game, which each have their own hype levels. 1 hype level 1 star, 2 hype level 2 stars, and 1 hype level 3 star. Hype level 1 and 2 stars aren't very special, but if the hype level 3 star cutscene plays, it basically gives Hakari an 80% chance of hitting a jackpot on that roll. Now let's talk about reach mode. Reach mode is what Hakari ends up in after he has spun one of his indicators, and this is where a cutscene plays with a certain hype level attached. The outcome of the cutscene can have a good ending or a bad ending. The good ending indicates a successful jackpot, but the bad ending indicates a failure to hit a jackpot. There's also a 4th color he can get, which is a rainbow indicator. A rainbow indicator means that no matter what, Hakari gets a jackpot, so nothing else even matters. He just gets it straight away. It's also stated that every 4th consecutive try guarantees a jackpot as well, but I'm pretty sure this only applies here in normal mode. Oh, there's different modes, by the way. We'll get into that later, but assume this currently what we're talking about is normal mode. It's never explicitly stated, but if Hakari has also mentioned that he's gone 30 spins without hitting a jackpot, how can this rule still apply? My best explanation is he was in time reduction mode for those 30 spins, which I'll explain later, but it's up to interpretation. Hakari also has a third type of preview performance known as pseudo spins. The principle of pseudo spins is when you think the slot machine has stopped its roll, but it actually hasn't, and it's still going until it hits the actual number. Think of pseudo spins like a second chance, a way for Hakari to essentially undo any damage done to him between rolling a failed spin and that moment. So if Hakari misses a spin, using a pseudo spin allows him to pretty much redo that scenario and revert any damage done to him at that time. This allows him to pretty much fake out his opponent by undoing a loss and giving him a win, but the trade-off is that it doesn't increase his chances like the other two indicators. All this really does is give him the same odds a second time. This is why he doesn't really use it unless he's in probability change mode, which for all intents and purposes guarantees a jackpot. So to summarize, Hakari rolls green balls or doors and gets a low-level hype cutscene. His odds aren't that good, but if Hakari rolls a gold bar or door and then gets a level 3 hype cutscene, his odds are very, very good, above 80%. Hakari also only needs to fail 3 times to get a 4th spin pity roll jackpot, and if he gets close to getting a jackpot, like rolling 2 of a kind but missing the 3rd number, he can re-roll that pseudo spin to try and get a jackpot instead. Keep in mind the balls don't guarantee a certain cutscene. You know, he could get a red indicator and then get a level 1 hype cutscene, he could get a green ball and then get a level 2 hype cutscene. It's just he probably can't get the level 3 hype cutscene unless he gets a gold ball. Does that make sense? And as long as he's in normal mode, he gets a jackpot no matter what on his 4th spin. So, this is all making sense? You have no fucking idea what's going on? That's okay. It's not that important. Let's just talk about what happens after Hakari hits his jackpot. Hakari's jackpot is probably the single most broken ability in the manga, second only to Higuruma's one-shot sword. Hitting a jackpot means a few things. The first is infinite cursed energy and access to the reverse curse technique because of the overflow from the infinite cursed energy. Hakari never learned how to use reverse curse technique, but infinite cursed energy flowing through his body allows him to perform it on instinct upon receiving any physical damage. And he can amplify and control it too, should he take more damage than he expected. This means immortality from any and all physical damage, increased reflexes, strength, speed, cursed energy output, everything. So essentially it makes him go from dangerous and invincible to potentially top 3 in the verse at a given time. Remember how Mahoraga was walking through Sukuna's domain in the Shibuya incident? I really hope at some point they make a callback to this in like a fight with Uraume, or maybe even in the fight with Kashimo in some way, because it's really such a shame that we never got to see him counter Sukuna's domain with that ability, but it is what it is. I know this is a lot, but we're almost done. Just one more thing I need to explain and then that's it. And that's the game flow and the mode Hakari enters after a successful jackpot. This final step is just the last of an entire banquet hall full of sweet treats Hakari has given himself within this domain, and it's arguably one of the most important parts. His last reward to the domain has 2 outcomes: probability change or time reduction. Probability change has a 75% chance of being the outcome here, and time reduction has a 25% chance of being the outcome. Probability change means that you get increased chances, which is, again, pretty much a guarantee, on your odds of getting a second consecutive jackpot on top of the one you just hit for your next roll. Because even if Hakari hits a jackpot, he might not be able to defeat his enemy in the 4 minutes 11 seconds given to him by jackpot. So, as a failsafe, hitting a jackpot drastically increases your odds of hitting a jackpot on your next roll. Alternatively, time reduction essentially makes it possible for him to rapid fire spins at a rate of around 22 spins a second, meaning that when Kashimo hit him here, from when he casted his domain to hitting the ground, he probably fired off at least 20 to 30 spins. This means that after every successful jackpot, Hakari either enters probability change, where he gets another jackpot, or time reduction, where he either gets a jackpot instantly, or goes back to the start in normal mode with the ability to fire off rapid spins in quick succession. This is what makes Hakari so dangerous. On the surface, Hakari has to gamble to get a reward, but when we peel back the layers, it's really just a glorified dance battle that results in Hakari being invincible and the other guy being completely negative. Okay, I think that's everything. So, one last time. Let's go ahead and review everything, assuming that the worst case scenario happens to Hakari, just to show how broken this is. Hakari opens his domain. He has a 1 in 239 chance to get a jackpot straight off rip. Hakari ends up with 3 green balls and 3 low hype cutscenes. Really, these don't matter here. He could get any combination and just get super unlucky, which is actually impossible for Hakari. He's explicitly stated as one of the luckiest characters in the series, but let's just say it happened anyways, just for the sake of argument. On his 4th spin after missing the first 3, he automatically gets a jackpot, according to that earlier translation. Along with that, he gets 4 minutes 11 seconds of immortality. Along with that, he gets time reduction and has to fire off an additional 20 to 30 rolls before hitting another jackpot, which is really like 2 seconds in real time. So mathematically speaking, he gets 8 minutes and 22 seconds of invincibility with a 2-second intermission right in the middle. So if you're fighting Hakari, you have to last at least 4 minutes fighting a guy who can't die, and then you have to gamble on a 25% chance of him even potentially being able to be damaged at that time before he has another 4 minutes where he's invincible. You'd have to capitalize on that tiny little window of 2 seconds with an attack strong enough to kill him. Keep in mind that this is like a worst case scenario for Hakari, because usually what actually happens is way different. In actuality, Hakari would probably spin like twice, instantly get his jackpot, then be immortal for 4 minutes, then reroll, hitting another jackpot with probability change instantly like 2 or 3 times in a row, and have like 20 to 30 minutes of invincibility while buffs stack indefinitely that increases damage output, speed, reaction time, and more. No, guys, it's not that broken of an ability, I swear. And even if you can expand your own domain, Hakari's domain is likely more refined than yours, so it wouldn't be canceled out by your domain's strength. We know a more refined and powerful domain beats a weaker domain, but in rare cases, domains of equal strength can be caught in a stalemate. Hakari's never been in this position, but considering his domain is more of a status boost than a damage dealer, it likely wouldn't stop the ritual even if it was caught in another domain. In a stalemate, or considering Hakari's strength and overwhelming cursed energy potential, it might just overpower whatever domain he pits it against automatically. It's really a shame we never got to see a domain expansion from Kashimo during their fight, but maybe the animators have something special for him and Urame's fight down the road. This is speculation, but considering how often Hakari uses his domain and how refined it would be, coupled with its clear pocket dimension of rules and regulations unaffected by the outside world, I think it's safe to say Hakari's domain would only be weak to something like Sukuna's or Gojo's domain, which might instantly destroy it, but other than that, there's not much to be done. Well, congratulations. Maybe now you have a 10% better understanding of how Hakari's ability works after watching this video. Because, let's be honest, fucking Gege doesn't even know how this shit works, man. Basically, all I need to know is Hakari is gambling on a 1 in 239 chance, but in actuality, given all the additional little gambles he has tied to his spin, he's got so much pulling for him that he's already got like 1 in 3 odds, just right off the beginning. And then like 1 in 20 odds every spin after that, even in the worst possible outcome. And considering just how lucky Hakari is, he's able to turn that into damn near back-to-back jackpots every single time. So if you find yourself feeling lucky, if you find yourself watching a battle between Jujutsu sorcerers and it seems evenly matched, if you're ever unsure of who's going to win, always bet on Hakari.